here we go. What do you think of when you think of the word percentile? What stands out to you? Percent of something, all right? And what do you think of when you read the word ranking? You're ordering stuff, you're ranking stuff, right? Yeah. You're comparing. I hope that's what comes to mind. Yes. So here it is. The term percentile is the same base as percent or percentage. Okay. Here's what Caleb was referring to. Percentiles are used to organize sets of data so you can see how one value compares to the other. And then here, percentile rank indicates the percentage of values of the given data that are lower than a given number. And I'm going to switch highlighters just so it stands out. If a number is said to be in the 60th percentile, it literally means that 60% of the numbers in the set are below the given number. Okay, so what I want you to maybe underline if a number. Like, what does that mean if a number? That could be, we could be talking about a test score. Write that down on the side, right? A test score. We could be talking about weight. We can be talking about your height. We could be talking about income. I think you get the point. So let's replace with if a number. If someone's income, right, is said to be in the 60th percentile, that means that 60% of people make less than that income. If a certain weight you talk about, right, is said to be in the 60th percentile, that means that 60% of the people weigh less than you. Okay, that's what I mean by that. Alternate notations. Maybe I'll use a different color. So 60th percentile you can use P60, or there's another one that I've seen online, PR60. They're all the same. They're all saying the same thing, that you're ranking in the 60th percentile. Okay. So percentile rank is used. You use a formula to figure it out exactly. And here it is. This is the formula. It's on the formula sheet. You want to see it? 1 second here. It's right there. But it's such a small formula. I would just have it on my study sheet if it doesn't take up too much room for you. Okay. And the reason being, I would say that B stands for, actually, sorry, I'm going to erase this. I got to make sure I have this clear. Number of values below the one considered. And N stands for total number of values. It's very important that you know what B and N stands for, or else you're not going to know what to do with it. Okay. Fun stuff, eh? I can guarantee you, like I will put money down that after today, at some point in your life, you're going to hear percentiles in the news when they talk about finances. If you have kids and you take your kids to see the doctor, like the first couple of months of life, you weigh them all the time. They weigh them and they measure the circumference of the head and length and all of that. The doctor was like, look at this chart. The percentile, your kid is in the 70th percentile, whatever percentile. Okay. So you'll see it. Note, uh, we use only whole numbers because we're ranking. Okay. So if something is in between, you will use a whole number. And another one, we do not use percent. So that's one that puzzles students. The word says percentile rank. Percent is in the word, but they don't want you to use percentage because you are ranking something. And I'll try to clarify that, okay? But this is big. If you want full marks, you got to make sure that there is no percent symbol at the end of your number. Okay. So here's an example. We're considering heights, right? Height of people. I forgot to add this heading there. So if we consider people's heights, and let's say this is you, right? And you are told that, listen carefully, you're told that 80% of the people considered in this grouping, that 80% of them are shorter than you. 80% are shorter. Let's write that down. Are shorter. Obviously, you can tell, right, that if there were numbers in there, all of these numbers would be less than the one you're considering for yourself. If you see that, if 80% of them are shorter, that means that you are in the 80%, 80th percentile. Okay, so there is a relationship. If it's 80%, then you're going to be in the 80th percentile. And I will still say that this is 80th. There's a bit of a controversy here with this one, but the province considers them the same. And I will not tell you what the difference is because it's going to mess you up. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Percentile rank, 80th, 80th. That's what we're going to leave it at. Okay? Another thing, can you read this on the side here? Percentile, you can have a number from 1 to 99. Okay? That's all you're allowed to have. You cannot have 100. You cannot be in the 100 percentile. And the reason being is you're part of the data. You're part of the data. So if you're saying that 100% are less than you, you are included in that data set. So you can only say 99. That's like the highest you can say for percentiles. All right. So let's just do one more thing here down. I want to write this down one more time. If your height, write this down. If your height places you in the 80th percentile, you're writing this down, right? You're not just looking at my pretty handwriting. 80th percentile, it means that 80% of the people are shorter than you. All right? If you recorded all of the heights in this room, what percentile do you think I would be?
100%.
Not 100, can't have that.
99%.
99%. Yeah. All right. And one more thing. This is important. Percentile does not tell you the actual score, but it is how the score compares to the rest. And this one I just threw in there because I remembered that the province threw students off with this. And here's an example. You can't write this down because you don't have the room. But I have this on my big piece of paper here. I just want to show you real quick. Sorry, I'm going to bring it back to, so if you're still copying, I apologize. I will bring it back. So let's say Biff, it's a cool name, eh? My old high school teacher always used Biff and Chip for all of the questions. So let's say Biff is in science and in math. Just pay close attention to what I'm trying to illustrate here. In science, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 test scores, of classmates. Maybe Biff asked around, hey, what did you get? What did you get, right? Not that you ever do that. Anyways, and then all of a sudden you notice that in science, Biff scored 90%. You're with me? Which means that how many students scored less than Biff? 3, right? So if you use the formula that I highlighted it there for you, 3 over 5 times 100 places him in the 60th percentile. Did he do pretty good in science? 90% is pretty good, but placed him at 60th percentile. Let's look at math. So this is Mr. Dirkson's class. Look at the test scores here. 25, 30, 45, 47, not so good. Not a single student passed, right? You see that? If Biff scored 47%, there are 3 students that scored less than him, correct? So if we use the formula, 3 divided by 5 times 100, 60th. So what's up with that? Right? This doesn't tell you how well you did on the actual test. It just tells us how you did compared to the rest. All right, guys? So, and you're going to be exposed to this later on, trust me. I'm going to skip page 54 for now. But I'm going to come back to it, so don't you worry. Go to 55. Was anybody copying 53 still? Nobody? You were all good? Okay, let me know. Go to 55. And we're going to put this formula to the test right away. And I need you to practice, okay? That's key here. The players on a senior boys volleyball team have the following heights. So there you have a bunch of heights. Watch this. So you're on, usually stats is at the end of the exam, by the way. Stats like the last thing you end with. Don't quote me on it, they could change it. But quite often percentile rank is like the final question. I don't know why, but that seems to be the last one. So calculate the percentile rank. Calculate, by the way, that's keyword for you're gonna have to do some crunching, number crunching. Percentile rank of the following heights. Then explain what the answer means. Okay? So we're gonna do one at a time. Percentile rank calls for B over N times 100. Don't rush ahead to the answer just yet, okay? What is B and what is N in this particular case? N is the easiest one, total number of values. So let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 players. Write that down. Okay. B stands for? B stands for number of values below the one considered. If you look, I want you to make sure you understand that. Number of values below the one considered. Which one is the one we're considering here? Which one are we looking at? This one, right? So we have to find the number of values that are below 172. You go do it, and then I'll do it as well. Find the number of values that are below 172 right now. Go ahead. Don't say it out loud. Keep it to yourself for now. All right. How many? 9. Below. It has to be below 172. Check again. Below 172. 1. Not counting that one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't count that one. There are 6 numbers that are below 172, right? I hope that's what you counted. 6 heights below 172 centimeters. That's very important that you say, like, what did we do with the B? I used to always rush through this. I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get it, and then they missed the boat. A lot of students missed the boat on this one. So this is the one we're considering. So we counted 6 heights below 172. Now we're ready to calculate. PR is 6 over 12 times 100. I think you can do this one, right? What's 6 over 12? Half, right? Times 100? 50th. Can I just give you a hint or help maybe? If you don't know, if you don't want to write down the TH, if you just want to write down 50, that's okay. But don't put a percent symbol next to it. Then you're losing marks. Okay. So if you're like, I don't know, is it TH? Is it RD? Is it, what is it? Just leave it. Okay. Just put a whole number and then you're fine. So what does that mean? Meaning, this is the same every time. I will start with this. I will say that 50% of the players are shorter. That's why, like, the heights below, right? So are shorter than 172 centimeters. That's what that means, right? So this 50 tells us the percentage that are shorter or below the number being considered. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? Sorry about that. Does that make sense? Can I just say something that note 50th is the same thing as P50 is the same thing as PR50. They're all the same thing. So some textbook says, hey, the PR, this player has a PR50 for this height. Okay, well, it's 50th percentile. I also want to say this, I kind of skipped it earlier. Do you remember what MCT, what's MCT again? Mean, median, mode. Which one of those three has 50% of the values below it and 50 above it? Median.
Yeah. I get the mean median mixed up.
So I will say this is the median. And a few exclamation marks. Not too many though. Okay. PR50 in statistics is our median. Or the 50th percentile is our median. It's the middle number. Okay. All right. I want you to find this one here. What's the percentile rank for a height? So forget about 172, okay? Forget about it. That's done. Now we're focusing on 190. Figure the percentile rank for 190. And then I'll go back to pay everybody else. All right. Way to go, guys. I liked what I saw. So there's 11 players for now, because you're still learning, right? Tell yourself 11 players shorter than 190 centimeters. And of course, there's still 12 players total. And then PR is simply 11 over 12 times 100. And you get 91.6, and that keeps going. So you need to choose. You can go 91st, or you can go 92nd. It's up to you. Technically, you should always round up. Always. Like as soon as it's like 91, even 0.06 or something, because you're technically a little bit ranked higher than 91, right? You're ranking a little higher. So it's either one. You choose. You choose. Okay. No percentage again. No percentage, please. Do not put a percentage because you're so used to when you multiply something by 100 to do that. So I don't blame you, but try to refrain when it's percentile rank. In your study sheet, next to the formula, if you write this formula down, this one, tell yourself no percentages. Okay. Could there be a player in the 100th percentile? The answer is no. Sorry. You cannot be, I'm going to explain this a bit more, in the 100th percentile, since the player is part of the data. Percentile rank can be as high as 99. That's as high as it gets. Okay. All right. I still need to cover 54. I wanted to do this first though. I didn't explain this one. Sorry, I did not explain this one. But it means, okay, you just gotta be careful. If you pick 91st, then you will say 91% of the players are shorter than 190 centimeters. If you choose to answer 92nd, then you would say 92% of the players are shorter than 190 centimeters. So that's what that means. Okay. But let's just put it into perspective. If you had no idea, listen carefully, if you had no idea what the heights were, okay? Let's say you did not know any of these heights, and I just said someone has a height where it places that person in the 92nd percentile, and I asked you, is that person pretty tall? You would have to say, well, I don't know exactly. I don't have the information. I just know that compared to the data set, yes. But it could be a baby. It could be a baby that's in the 92nd percentile. So compared to the babies in that age group, you're pretty tall. But it could be that overall, with the entire population, you're actually pretty short, right? So it just ranks you compared to what's around you. Okay. All right. Let's go to 54 and finish this off, and then you're going to have some time to work. You need some highlighters here. Okay. I know you're tired, so I'm going to try to make this. It's not going to be that bad, but this one was on an exam, so I just thought, hey, I'll bring it up. Just so you know, I totally made these numbers up, and I hope I'm dead wrong, but I have a bit of a feeling that these numbers are actually accurate. The following shows the average amount of sleep students between the ages of 15 to 18 are getting per night. Okay, so you have the percentile down here, and you have the hours up here. Okay, so what percentage of students get less than 3 hours of sleep? Well, 3 hours coincides with the 40th percentile. So I will say 3 hours corresponds with the 40th percentile. Three hours corresponds with the 40th percentile. Therefore, have I ever used this symbol with you? Therefore, therefore 40% of students get less than 3 hours of sleep, which is scary. But I've asked around, and please sleep. Just do it for yourself. Don't do it for me. What percentage of students get between 5 to 6 hours of sleep? Uh-oh, that word between threw a lot of students off on the exam. I don't know when this was, years ago. Between 5 and 6, let's go look for 5 and 6. Between here and here. So we literally just want this area and here. We just want the percentage that would be here. Any guesses as to how to find that? It's not that complicated. Maddie? That's right. You simply subtract 90 minus 75, and then you get what's in here. So I'll actually do that right here. 90 minus 75. That puts 15% in between here. Because, right, it would be 90 all the way up to here. And then it'd be 75 all the way up to the 75 mark. So yeah, subtracting gives you that exactly. So I will just say this, 90 minus 75 one more time. 15% of students get in between 5 and 6. Okay. They did this with incomes, I remember. They did something like this with incomes. So how many people make between 80,000 and 90,000? So you just have to go look at the incomes and subtract the percentiles. What percentage of students get less than 4 hours of sleep? I have a pink one here. So when it's less, then it's just, yeah, go look for the number, and everything below it is, so 4 hours is right here. That's the mark. So this is 50th. Therefore, 50% of students. And here I tell you one more time, right? 50th is the median. And it would kind of make sense if you look at the bar, right? 9 hours would put you basically in the 99th percentile. Unless, and if you're past that, then you're an outlier. Okay. Last one here, and then I'll let you work. How many hours of sleep does a student in the 80th percentile get? Can this be determined? Go look at the chart. 80th percentile. I don't have that exact information. I know it's somewhere here probably. And we can guess it's between 5 and 6 hours, but we don't know exactly. So do not have enough information. Cannot be determined based on the info provided. That's it. That's all. Okay, I'm going to send you to page 55 one more time, just to write down the pages that would go with this lesson. Go to 55, bottom there somewhere, and just say pages 56 to 58. And then it gets into a bit trickier stuff. But for now, we're just going to leave it at that, and I will post the answer key. Thank you guys, you're great. But just make sure you do